I see you're doing a lot of the right things. You're meal planning, you're cutting coupons, buying things on sale, saying no to the extras, and working that side job. Yet prices continue to increase and your paycheck just doesn't stretch the way it used to. And I am sorry to tell you this, but things will likely get worse. Unfortunately, all of this tariff talk and chaos will likely lead to an increase in prices for everything that we need and want. But here's the good news. You don't have to wait for the politicians to fix everything. Right now, starting today, we all can take small, sustainable steps to ease the cost, ease the stress, and create more stability for our families. And how timely that April is Earth Month. Now is the time to think about how you living a sustainable life can help both your wallet and the planet. So what's up with these tariffs? Tariffs are government taxes on imported goods. And as you probably already know, a lot of the stuff that we all use is imported from other countries. And when politicians and governments are trying to reach a trade agreement, it means there's a lot of things that will be in limbo, which will likely cause prices to increase. So this means food, baby gear, electronics, and so many other things will likely see a price increase. This does not bode well for our budgets, especially because as a mom, I know that our budget is already tight. I'm trying to figure out ways to make sure there's room, but you and I know that unexpected price jumps will only make things harder. But my goal with this video is to give you alternatives, give you ways to beat the tariffs so that you can have more money for your family and more stability for your family. Thank you so much for joining me here at Sisters for Financial Independence. My name is Catherine Agopcan. I am a personal finance educator and I cover topics related to money, motherhood, and everything else in between. But alongside that, I have also been a sustainability blogger and I have adopted a lot of sustainability lifestyle changes to make sure that we are living in line with our values, make sure we were being kinder to the earth, and the result of that has also mean that we save more money. The first thing that I did when I started my sustainability journey was do a waste audit. And basically, you do just that. You look at your trash and you figure out what you are putting in there because it can signal and show you the kinds of things that you are spending money on and the kinds of things that you are putting away. For example, if you are seeing a lot of food items in there, that's a lot of food waste. And with food prices increasing, we cannot afford to be wasting food. If you need tips to help you reduce food waste at home, or cook more at home, I've got those videos lined up in the description so you can watch it next. Another example might be if you have paper towels. What can you do instead of wasting a lot of paper towels? There's so many swaps out there to help you be a little bit more sustainable and reduce what goes in your trash. Look to see if you have food packaging, maybe takeout containers, maybe clothing that you're throwing away. Why are you throwing those out? Figure out those things because all of those have been manufactured and have been imported. And the next time you buy those, they're going to be more expensive. So we're going to figure out ways to swap those once we know what we're throwing away. Now, as a mom, I know we like to do things on our own. It's just easier and so much faster. But this is an exercise I'm going to recommend that you involve your family in. Get your partner involved, get your kids involved so they see the kinds of things that throwing away and the kinds of things that cost money that end up in the garbage. This can be a great lesson, especially for Earth Month, to do together. I'm going to put my personal finance hat on, and the next tip is to do a spending audit. This is basically where you review all of your spending transactions. So you are going to print out the last 3 months of your credit and debit card statements, and you and your partner are going to go through them line by line. You are going to see what you're spending your money on, because in a few months, if and when these tariffs go into effect, you're going to see some of those line items being high. When you look at your transactions, you will also want to see, where are you spending your money? Are you spending a lot at Amazon, Costco, Target? Is it things for the kids that you're spending a lot of money on? What is that? Look to see patterns in your spending. Are you spending because it's holidays? Are you spending because a lot of things were last minute asks? I know as a mom that it's easy to just buy and click on Amazon because someone didn't tell you that they needed something. So look to see what that means. What does that look like, and how does it show up in your spending audit, so you understand how to curb your spending and where you might want to make some changes. Next up is to consume less. Now, tariffs will affect our budgets if we continue to consume the way we are consuming. Unfortunately, consumption is not good for our wallet and the planet. And a big part of sustainable living is to become an intentional consumer of things. Now, I love this updated graphic from Sarah Lazarovic, and it basically tells you how you need to look at when you need to buy things. It's called the Buyerarchy of Needs, and it's based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it gives you a guide on how you should be spending your money. In this channel, I always emphasize, do not default to spending to solve all of your problems. The Buyerarchy of Needs is a guide that can help you figure out what you can do instead of spending money to solve a problem. At the bottom of the pyramid is to use what you have. That means be happy with what you already have at home. Do not upgrade so easily. Do not be tempted to buy the trends, and do not be tempted to buy whatever influencer is pushing to you. Use what you have. Go in your pantry and try to use up what you have saved up, because eventually those will expire, and unfortunately, if we start throwing those out, we're wasting money. Be careful with things that are trendy. Be careful with things that you know that you're probably going to use once. I know that for the last few months, a lot of people have been buying new water bottles. But I want to tell you a secret, that the point of these bottles was that they were supposed to be reusable. You're not supposed to be getting one in every color. It defeats the whole purpose. So use what you have and save your money. Next in the hierarchy is that you are going to start borrowing things instead of buying it. Ask to see if your neighbors have it, ask to see if your family or friends have it, and borrow instead of buying. It's a great way to save money. It's a great way to use stuff up, and it's also a great way for you to get and be a part of a community. My sisters and I are in a group chat together. We live fairly close by, so we are constantly asking each other to borrow stuff. Whether it's a dress for a wedding, whether it's silverware, we can ask each other to borrow items so that we are not spending money on it and we are not buying things for a one-off use. Also note that your library is a great place for you to start to borrow books, borrow puzzles, borrow audiobooks, borrow movies. Everything else under the sun is probably found at your library. Our library also has a library of things where we have borrowed things like a microscope, we have borrowed museum passes, we have borrowed a speaker system. And all of this is for you to help you, one, be part of the community, get you to save money, and of course not buy things that you're going to use one time. If you have not been to your library lately, I want you to check out this video in which I list all of the things that the library has to offer so that you can be part of that community where you are being sustainable by borrowing. Next up is to swap. If you are not into borrowing but have things that you can exchange for it, then exchange it with a neighbor. Join your local buy nothing group and see if there's things that you can share in that group as well as take. Use the concept of swapping and bartering to allow you to alleviate spending money and alleviate having to consume more stuff that you need. Next up on the pyramid is to thrift and shop secondhand. The best part, all of this stuff is already in the US. Someone else has already paid the tax on it, and someone else has already paid the first premium. So now you can get something a little bit less and already have it at your door without paying any extras on it. Thrift shopping and secondhand shopping is great for the environment and super great for your wallet. Here's the thing, we live in a society where trends and things move very fast. We can have something from the manufacturing to our door and to the trash in less than 30 days. Imagine how wasteful that is. Wasteful on resources, wasteful on our wallet. So instead of you doing that consumption cycle, get slow with your consumption, be intentional with buying things secondhand and buying things that have already been pre-loved. Remember too that if you demand secondhand, you can also supply secondhand. So look around your home for furniture, kids stuff, and anything else that you no longer use or need that's taking up space, and sell that on the secondhand market. Use that money to beef up your emergency fund, pay off credit card debt, and so much more. So we want to be creating a circular consumption cycle. So it's not just from the manufacturing down to the trash. Let's see if we can reuse some of these things and get some money back for it as well. The great thing about secondhand shopping is that it is a little bit more intentional because you can't readily buy certain things on the secondhand market. You have to wait. You're not going to be instantly gratified by clicking a button off of the internet. You have to take your time, create a list for the things that you want, and be slow with what you're buying and be intentional with how you are spending money. If you want more tips to live a sustainable life and be kinder to your wallet, I'm going to recommend our 30-day email challenge course. It's 30 days, it's free, and each day you get a tip on how to live more sustainably. Find the information and the link to sign up in the description. If this video has been helpful, please give it a like and share it with a friend. And if you want more money tips like this to help you and your family, consider subscribing to Sisters for Fi. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get back to the tips. Now that we understand the Buyerarchy of Needs, let's move on to some other tips that you can do to beat the tariffs. Next is to grow stuff. Now, we don't all have green thumbs and we may not have the space to do all of this, but you can start small. Start growing an herb or two. Start maybe buying one tomato vine plant and figure out ways to grow some of the food at home. But we all need to start understanding how food is grown, how it reaches our table, because what we don't realize is that food travels very far to get to our table. So if we don't understand that, we will never truly understand how much resources it takes to put food on the table, and then it all goes in the trash. Growing your own food can be a great exercise to help you appreciate how much resources and time it takes to grow food. And I think our children also need to see what this looks like. Have them help you start out with a seed and have them help you take care of it so they can see the fruits of their labor. It's so rare now that kids actually see how things are made and how things are grown. A lot of it is just on screen. So when they actually see a tactile thing that they're touching soil, they might be touching an earthworm, that can help them appreciate things a bit more. Speaking of food, imported food can be unpredictable in price and stability. So now might also be the time for you to look to see if there's local CSAs, community supported agriculture, or a local farm in your area, and use your money to support those farmers. Buy local, eat local, and see how much better produce tastes when you're getting it at the peak of ripeness, when it's in season. In New Jersey, strawberries in May, peaches in the summer, and tomatoes in August are one of the best things to grab. So figure out ways to support your local farmers and buy local produce, because when it's local, you likely won't have a lot of tariffs attached to it. My next tip is to simplify your wardrobe. If you've looked at your wardrobe and seen where things are made, you know likely that a lot of the stuff that you bought that were for cheap will most likely will not be for cheap again. So be mindful of what you're putting in your closet, how much you're spending on it, and start simplifying your wardrobe so you have something that is sustainable and something that will last you a long time. Unfortunately, fast fashion is cheap for a reason. They are not well made. They're made of polyester and plastic-based materials, so they will fall apart sooner rather than later. So you want to start investing in pieces that you know that you can mend, you know that you can fix, and you know that will last you a while. I know it's easy to get tempted by all the spring dresses coming out right now from Target, from Kohl's, but unfortunately, a lot of these just don't stand the test of time. So think about that the next time you start buying things for yourself or for your kids. Figure out ways to mend your clothing so that, again, you're not paying extras for new ones when tariffs hit, and you can extend the life of your clothes. For more tips to help you extend the life of your clothes so you save money on that front, this video is for you. I will have it here as well as in the description. Learning to fix something can go a long way in saving you money and reducing waste. Here's the reality. If you budget $200 every month on clothing, it means that at the end of the year, you probably would have spent $2,400 on clothes. Do you have that much to show for? Are you using all of that clothing up? Now for the average woman, around $1,000 to $2,500 worth of clothing is just sitting in their closet. Unworn, maybe tags are still on them, or just used for that one-time photo. That's a lot of money, and that's a lot of wasted resources just hanging in your closet. It's also super important for us to realize this. If we are carrying a balance on our credit card, it means anything that we've bought is continuing to accrue interest. So anything that's in your closet that you are not wearing and was charged on a credit card, and that card has a balance, that piece of clothing continues to increase in price the more it sits on your closet. That's food for thought as you think about buying your next piece of clothing and how you can be a bit more sustainably minded and intentionally focused on your wardrobe. And the last tip I have for you in this video is to drive less. Now, I know this is going to be a challenge because we do live in a society and a country that is very car-centric, and for a lot of us, public transportation is not all that good. But I challenge you to see what you can do. How many hours, how many trips can you reduce your car usage? Now, with tariffs coming, likely car prices are going to increase. Some gas prices might also increase, as well as other maintenance costs for your cars. The less wear and tear you put in your car, the better to extend the life of your car and get you some more savings. Of course, you need to come up with other ways to get to places. You might end up walking or biking, which is good for your health. You might end up carpooling, which is good for your money and good for the environment. And you might also need to consider combining errands or eliminating completely. Maybe you don't need to visit the store. Maybe you don't need to do one other activity. So figure out ways to reduce your car usage so that you save yourself money, time, reduce wear and tear, and of course, get you out or moving your body instead of relying on the car. We are a one-car household here in New Jersey, and it has been that way for over 10 years. And you might think it's impossible to be a one-car household, but with a little coordination with your partner, with some of the things that you're doing, it is possible. My daughter and I do walk a lot, and she also scoots and bikes. She learned to ride her scooter very early because she had no choice. We had to walk to places, to go visit her doctor, and go to school. And that pushed us to be out and about more, explore the neighborhood. So think about that when you're considering driving less, or maybe dropping one of your cars so you can save on that monthly payment and save on gas. Tariff chaos might feel out of control, but how we live, shop, and consume today is 100% in our hands. Every sustainable swap is a step forward towards sustainability, savings, and sanity. Let me know in the comments which tip you are going to follow through to help your family become more sustainable and beat the tariffs that are coming. If I missed a tip, leave it in the comments and share it with our community. Don't forget to like and share this with a fellow mom. Subscribe to Sisters for Fi to help you manage your money for yourself, your family, and your community. If you want more ideas on how you can be more sustainable at home, I want you to check out this video with 5 easy sustainable swaps you can make at home. And if you have some clothes in your closet accruing interest due to credit card debt, I want you to check out this playlist to help you pay down credit card debt. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!